And there we are. So, for the last 2 days, and you'll forgive me, this is my first Mackinac Policy Conference, and I'm pretty sure it's been 2 weeks, not 2 days. We've all been talking about the power of collaboration, the power of diverse perspectives. Michigan Central is literally the embodiment of the power of and. As Bill described, Bill and his colleagues and Mary and others saw that the pace of change in technology, the challenges facing the world, the challenges facing Detroit, facing Michigan, required a different response. Michigan Central is that response. It's actually a social enterprise committed to building solutions and skills at the intersection of mobility and society. What the hell does that mean, you say? Well, so a social enterprise, meaning we are a community development enterprise, an economic development enterprise. Our mission is to build the talent pipeline, to grow the economy. And our business mandate is not that of a typical real estate endeavor, but in fact, to become our own self-sustaining entity so that we can keep doing and investing in the work that we do. Building solutions and skills, because our focus is on new mobility solutions and how to accelerate their adoption into the real world. And skills, because the work we're doing gives us insights into the skills needed for the work of the future. And at the intersection of mobility and society, because physical mobility is inseparable from social mobility and economic mobility. How are we going to do this? And as Bill described, we're already doing it. First and foremost, through, in fact, the power of bound, by creating a big tent, an open platform for companies of all scales, for universities, for organizations, civic organizations, community organizations, philanthropies, for everybody to participate. And we believe that what will come out of that is a powerful and game-changing and market-leading ecosystem that will grow well beyond the boundaries of just Michigan Central. Through the provision of innovation infrastructure, real assets that facilitate and invite testing of new ideas also in the real world. It's not just stuff that's in some lab or an R&D space. It's in fact out there, like the inductive charging in pavement with Electrion. These are tools that companies and others can use to test what they need to do. Through collaboration, Bill mentioned the incredible support from Mayor Duggan, from Governor Whitmer, the city and the state, but it's not just a typical public-private partnership. It's a working collaboration, day to day. The teams from both the city and the state are as much a part of the work at Michigan Central as our own team. And it exceeds just government. It's philanthropy, it's civic organizations, it's community organizations. That collaboration is the ethos of Michigan Central. And through new policy tools, recently passed by the Detroit City Council, the City of Detroit created something called the Transportation Innovation Zone. It's actually an incredibly powerful signal to companies that Detroit is open for new business. Super happy that the first permit was issued. It's amazing, yes. So this is no small feat. And that first permit is a combination of two robotics companies, one from Detroit, one from the UK, and they're working with a consortium of community-based organizations in Corktown and Southwest to develop a robotic crossing guard to make safer intersections. Small steps, but incredibly powerful. And through the engagement and participation of the community. Bill mentioned the work that Mary and Carolina and others have done in engaging with our neighbors around Michigan Central. But it's deeper than just that. It's not just about how do we be good neighbors, but it's about actual participation and inclusion in the process. Innovation isn't just technical R&D. Everybody participates in the innovation at Michigan Central. And we're well on our way. And one of the things that I love, and Bill mentioned this too, is that there's a certain poetry that we're not doing this in shiny new purpose-built buildings. There was a lot of talk at the conference over the last couple days about the importance of place. We're doing this in iconic structures that have been incredible witnesses to history, both the triumph and the civic grandeur, and also the trials and tribulations of Detroit and so many other cities. The first building we opened, the Book Depository Building, built in 1936 to accommodate bulk mail coming from the train station, then a storage supply for for books and supplies for Detroit school children, and then empty and abandoned for 35 years and decaying. Now ready for its next life. And if you haven't been in there, you have to come see it. It's super powerful. And together with our partners at New Lab, a company we attracted to come from New York, their only expansion, having been sought after by literally over 100 cities. Amazing specialists in cultivating the relationship between emerging technology and emerging companies. Together with New Lab, as Bill mentioned, we just opened in April, we already have almost 40 companies now at this point, and they're engaged in all kinds of extraordinary work. About half are Detroit founders or Michigan founders, and half are coming from around the country and around the world. And the work is focusing on electrification, on alternative energy sources, on advanced aerial mobility, on intersectional mobility, where new mobility tools can take on issues like healthcare access, food equity. Companies like Grounded in the upper left corner, making the only customized electric RV product in the market, who literally turned around on the way to Austin to set up shop at Michigan Central. Companies like WheelMe, a Norwegian company who makes an autonomous wheel with all kinds of applications, that literally contacted me cold on LinkedIn saying, we're ready to enter the North American market, and Michigan Central is the perfect place for us. And companies like Pluck, a Detroit-based company focused on produce logistics, but you did not know produce logistics was a field, but where they're developing the tech that can lower the cost to deliver literally the produce from urban farms in Detroit to local communities. Interestingly, together, the companies already at Michigan Central represent $500 million in venture investment, shockingly close to 40% of the total amount of venture activity that actually happened in the state of Michigan in 2021, critical as we all build the venture community here in Michigan to keep those companies here as they grow and scale. We've become a center for convening, based with Detroit-based, regional, statewide, and national and global events, seeing us as a neutral ground to take on hard issues. And I mentioned our skills work before. Incredibly important that all of the work that we do at Michigan Central would be for naught if we did not recognize that we have to focus on the growing gaps in who's participating in the growth economy. Detroit Future City and the Brookings Institute did an incredible report that really painted a stark picture of the disparity in who's getting jobs in the growth economy. Michigan Central takes this very seriously, and the focus of our skills work is, in fact, on taking advantage of the opportunity we have by having all this groundbreaking work happening at Michigan Central to develop skills training that we can do on-site, but then also scale through partnerships and curriculum, and hopefully start to move the needle. We're already working, for example, with our partners Google, their Code Next program, first Code Next program in the Midwest. This spring, they have 50 students. In the fall, it'll be 100 students. The outcome's already incredibly energizing. It's amazing. One student has designed a robotics tool that uses Braille to facilitate visually impaired participation in meetings. Another student has started a web design business with a number of customers in her neighborhood. Another one is starting at Columbia University in the fall and has committed at this point to come back after. But it's really, it's material steps towards taking on these incredibly important issues. As Bill talked about, we think what we do at Michigan Central can scale. It can scale throughout Detroit, throughout the region, throughout the state. We're already seeing where companies located at Michigan Central need manufacturing facilities and find them elsewhere in the region. As Bill mentioned, we have to address this, though, to make sure we can accommodate all range of growth. But we're also starting to see networks start to form across geography. And our opportunity to scale this even further will increase dramatically around this time next year when we formally open the train station as part of the venue for all of the work that we are doing. So we're incredibly grateful to all of our partners, to the city, to the state, to our philanthropic, our civic, our corporate, our community, our neighbor partners, and we're extremely excited to continue to build Michigan Central with all of you. So thank you.